We are busy with a series where we unpack some valuable lessons from the world of property and business, and we are talking to property practitioner Colin Mansfield, who knows the property industry inside and out. Colin, welcome.
Thanks, Anne. Nice to be here again.
It's lovely to have you. And Colin, today's question is with regard to financial backup when starting for the first time as a property practitioner. Would you be able to give us some advice regarding that, please?
And thanks for that question. It's an excellent question, and I don't think it's stressed enough. I'll allude to what I'm going to tell you now when we have another discussion about something else. But there is a perception that our industry is very easy to join, and in some respects it is. And with certain new business models that are appearing, it seems to be easier than ever. I don't know if there's enough emphasis put when interviewing people or checking their suitability to have a financial backup. So the rule of thumb used to be you need to be able to live for 6 months. And we have people coming from all kinds of backgrounds. So not everybody's a person who was in school 3 months ago and they've got no overheads. We get people that have been retrenched after 22 years working for the co-op or for this business or from the mine, and he's got a bond and he's got 2 cars and he's got 3 kids and stuff. That guy's got, unless he's got 6 months backup, financial backup, he's got no chance, and it doesn't matter how good you are. Transactions, even if you kick off with 1 or 2 transactions by luck or by whatever, transactions are sequential, meaning things have to happen before the next thing happens. So very little in a transaction is simultaneous. And so the nature of the thing is that it takes months to get your money. Months. And every month end that slips by, you eat into your reserves. I've seen some heart-wrenching examples. I've seen people that are so keen and even talented people using e-hailing, Bolt, and all kinds of stuff to meet a client at an address to show a property because they don't own a car. Because they're so desperate for a job. And, is it fair to hold it against them that they don't have a financial backup and stuff? Well, I don't think it's unfair to hold it against people. You've got to be realistic. The amount of desperation that I've seen on people's faces just trying to do the basic stuff. Basic stuff is you've got to be able to run a phone that you're not phoning people on WhatsApp because you're on Wi-Fi and you don't have airtime. People can't get hold of you because you don't have airtime. You don't have a vehicle. And so yes, to be fair, the model has changed where we don't ride around with clients anymore for safety reasons. We meet people at addresses, but still, imagine pitching up at an appointment and jumping out of the Bolt and meeting your client there, and then off you chuff and you stand and hitchhike quickly into a taxi and off you go and whatever. That's fine and dandy and everything, but can a person like me, I wouldn't be able to start every day like that, but these people that are talented people, qualified people, good people and whatever, and they've got debit orders and stuff, and 1 month goes by. I don't know what they were thinking, and they didn't have this financial backup, or they did, or nobody spelt it out to them. And instead of giving that person a job, I think you helped him. You didn't help him or her by giving them the job without explaining they need 6 months, And 6 months of overheads is really realistic. Even if you sell one property in your first 6 months or two properties or whatever, the nature of it might be that it just simply isn't enough, And so instead of focusing on training and working correctly and stuff, all you're doing is busy worrying, and then on top of it, you've got dependents and stuff. Was it fair to give that person a job and not check that they had this financial backup and security? It's just stuff I've seen in my life, So my message to anybody who's thinking of coming to this profession, a lot of obstacles and hurdles and gates have been moved out of the way, but the underlying one of at least 6 months financial security or backup, I don't think that can ever be replaced. This job is commission only. There's no basics involved. Very few companies will advance you any money, like the insurance profession. And the thing is, you're being asked to use your own resources. So you'll typically be using your own cell phone. A company won't give you a cell phone. But you're supposed to put fuel in your own car that you've got a payment on, and insurance and all kinds of stuff. So you're being asked indirectly to use your own resources. And then on what basis were you hired if it wasn't spelled out to you that you need to have at minimum, a decent laptop and a phone and a car and this kind of stuff and that. And I don't know, I've never seen one person who's been going to viewings in a Bolt ever succeed yet. And God bless them. I hope somebody does one day. But I mean, it's unfair to even hire the people. So I can't overemphasize the need for that, but to me, it's more, so it's a tough situation, but it's very unfair to hire people who weren't asked that direct question, do you have 6 months to live, or,
Yes.
And sometimes if a spouse or partner is working and that kind of stuff, and maybe eventually you're on the go and all of that kind of stuff. But it's traumatic, and so because the profession has been seen to be easy to access or to start, not everybody's forthcoming about the minimums necessary. But if they spoke to you, forthcoming.
Absolutely. No, we know. And Colin, this is so valuable. Thank you for bringing the reality of this to us. And a lot of people definitely need to hear this as well. Thank you.
A great pleasure, as always.
Okay, Colin, till next time, thank you very much for being with us and sharing your insights. And we will speak to you next time.
It's my lived experience.